we get started with this video, I will apologise for the inevitable drilling in the background. I actually live on a new build estate and our house is brand new and it's one of the first to be finished, and the rest of the area is still very much in construction. But today they've decided to dig up our road, so the drilling is even louder than usual, and I'm really sorry. I'm actually using my phone as a microphone to try and minimise the drilling sound as much as humanly possible, but I'm really sorry if there's drilling in the background of this and it's annoying. Don't know why they picked today of all days. It's the only day I can film and it's the day that they drill. But anyway. I also don't know why when I'm getting ready for these videos I always spray on perfume, because you're not actually going to be able to smell me, but there's something about perfume that makes you feel really good. But anyway, let's get started. Today's video is going to be a bit of a mishmash. It's going to be all about blogging, all about my career so far, what I wanted to do growing up, what I'm doing now, how I earn money. So the idea behind this video came from the fact that I am sent a lot of emails and asked a lot on social media, on Instagram and things like that, and even when I'm meeting people, even when I'm meeting new friends or new people and friends, they always ask me about these kinds of things, so I thought it might be really interesting to put it all together in one big video, and it might be quite insightful. It might be quite eye-opening, because I suppose it doesn't get talked about that much, but nevertheless I thought I would do this video because it might be a fun one to film. So I feel really organised today because today is my filming day, and I've actually got a notebook and I've written down all of the questions that are the most popular ones that people ask me either in person or on email. So yes, let's get started, because I know I have a tendency to waffle and this video is going to be really long if I don't just get going. But the first question is, what was your dream job growing up? Now I have always, as far as I can remember, or I could pinpoint it actually to when I was around 13, I really had the ultimate goal and the dream to become a journalist, and that was purely because I absolutely adored writing. I've always loved writing, loved telling stories. I used to make little books for my family, and I'd kind of publish them and make magazines on my mum's computer at work on the school holidays, and I absolutely loved the feeling of having my name in print and writing a story and have people read that. And I actually got a really unique opportunity when I was 13. I was away with my grandparents in Cyprus, and their neighbours ran a lifestyle magazine for the local area, and it wasn't a big magazine or anything like that. But it was a lifestyle magazine. It had just started up, and they gave me the opportunity to be the junior reporter for the summer, which involved me going and reviewing a local water park, which is like the best job ever basically. So I went along to this water park and I reviewed it, and I wrote a big article and had my photos taken, and then it was there in print, it was in the magazine, and I officially caught the bug. That was my dream job. So that was what I aspired to do for the rest of my educational career. I had the ultimate goal in mind, that I really wanted to become a journalist, and I used to read Glamour magazine, I used to read Company magazine at the time, always read kind of Shout magazine and all the, although one of my favourite was Animals and You, which I was actually featured in, claim to fame. But anyway, so yes, always wanted to do that growing up, and I based my qualifications and the kind of educational career the route that I went down on the fact that I wanted to be a journalist. So I did all of my A-levels were very kind of written subjects. I did English literature, philosophy and ethics, media studies, and I also did photography because I realised the importance of, as a journalist, being able to handle a camera as well. And in fact, my dream of becoming a journalist was actually why I initially set up my blog, because I've always been on the internet, always loved a bit of MSN back in the day, and I also had my own website. The first ever website I had was Pixo. Don't know if anyone remembers that, but I had a Pixo. And then, what was it called as well? Obviously I had a MySpace, and Bebo, had a Bebo as well. So yes, always been on the internet, and I understood the importance of having an online portfolio of work to showcase to future employers. So I set up my blog. Initially I started writing about news stories that really interest me and things that were happening in everyday life that I had an opinion on, and I think since a lot of those posts have been deleted because they were very badly written and they weren't a good showcase of my skills at all. But setting up the blog really helped me to practice my writing, develop, and it also really helped get me into the university that I really wanted to go to, which is moving on to my next question, which is, did you go to university? And yes, I did. I went to Bournemouth University to study multimedia journalism. That was my dream course for as long as I could remember. I think someone initially told me about it and then I had my heart set on it. I really wanted to go there. Bournemouth is one of the top media schools in Europe, I believe, and they have a big media school with lots of high-tech equipment, and I guess I was kind of wowed and blown away and in awe of it all, really. So that was my dream, to go there. They had very high entry requirements and I was a little bit intimidated about it at first because I wouldn't say I'm not intelligent, but I'm quite academic, but in general life, I don't know, I'm a bit ditzy. But anyway, we will, I don't know where I was, what was I saying? Did I go to university? So yes, I went to Bournemouth. I did 3 years there. I actually took a gap year before I went to Bournemouth because I was a little bit unsure. I mean, I had a boyfriend at the time, and I guess I kind of didn't want to leave, and I was putting it off, and I decided that maybe if I took a gap year I could try and get my dream job in London and it would all work out and I wouldn't have to go to university. As it happened, that wasn't the case. I did work for a year in my gap year. I worked in travel PR with a really nice team of people. I had a really fun year, and I also used that year to really build up my blog. I went to lots of cool events. I was nominated for my first Cosmo blog award, which was very exciting, and that's where I met my friend Em, who we're now very close. We go on trips together, and we also went on a random trip to Paris together. But anyway, that's not about university. What am I talking about? So yes, put off going to university for a long time, and then eventually decided, okay, I haven't landed my dream job, I should probably go. So I went to university for 3 years in Bournemouth. You could choose to do a placement year and extend it to 4, but I just chose to do the 3 because I just wanted to get it over with as soon as I could. While I was at university, my opinions started to shift about journalism as a profession and whether I wanted to do that long term. I don't think it was entirely down to the course. I think a lot of it was what was happening in the blogging world and the fact that it was taking off and it was becoming an industry in its own right, and I was building a position in that. But I think also the fact that journalism is, obviously it's still very much a very valued industry. Oh, I think that might be the door. One sec. No, it's just someone posting a leaflet that will go in the bin. My opinions about journalism shifted somewhat. It is still very much a valued and credited industry, but there is a lot of, I mean, my eyes were opened to the industry it is when I did a lot of work experience, and I always thought that my dream job was to work in showbiz journalism and be reporting from the red carpet. And I did a few internships that were literally like my dream. That was my dream. I always wanted to do those things. And while I was there, I was like, oh, hold on. And while I was there, I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And it just wasn't how I'd envisioned it. And I think sometimes you do build things up in your head to be this big, like amazing, awe-inspiring thing, and you get there and, you know, it is a job. And there was a lot of, you know, writing about celebrities that had gone to the shop and worn a certain dress, and I don't know, I just felt like there was more for me to give than that, and I'm not discrediting that at all, because I still think it's an amazing profession. You have to work very long hours, and you're constantly keeping on top of your game, and I think it's amazing, you know, constantly coming up with ideas for new features. And I still very much have kept my toes dipped into that industry. I still do freelance work and stuff, which I will explain later. But I just felt like I wanted to pave my own way and I wanted to do something different. So in my final 2 years at uni, I began playing around with the idea that I would blog full time, and I just kind of threw all my extra time into my blog. So while everyone else at uni was going out and partying and really enjoying being a student and being a young person, I was cooped up in my room. I say it like it's a bad thing. I love writing, I love blogging, and for me that was my partying. Like I just loved doing that. So I didn't really have the university experience that I guess most students do, and for that reason I think that's why I didn't get along with it and I didn't enjoy it as much as, you know, everyone always says university is the best time of your life, and for me I couldn't wait to leave. Not saying that I hated every minute, because there were some nice minutes, but it just wasn't how I'd envisioned it. I think I got a bit unlucky with friendships and things like that, but I think that's for a whole nother video. So if you would be interested in hearing all about my university experience, then let me know and I will film a whole other video all about that. But anyway, next question is, did you always want to be a blogger? So I guess I've kind of answered that in the sense that no, I didn't always want to be a blogger, because I didn't even know it was a thing. I honestly, when I set up my blog initially, I didn't even know it was called a blog. I just thought I was writing on a website, and I think that was 2011. So that's 6 years ago. It's 2011 this month. Or June 2011, God, I can't even get that out. But anyway, so yes, June 2011 was when I set up my blog. Didn't even know it was a blog back then. And to be honest, it's only in the last couple of years that I realised that you can be a blogger and you can do that full time. And that was always my dream all along, I guess, was to write and to produce content and to create, and that's what I'm doing. So it's incredible to be in my dream job, even though that wasn't the plan all along. And I think in a way that kind of shows that you don't necessarily have to have a concrete plan in place. You can have ideas and you can have things that you're passionate about and things that you love, and you know, just take that forward. Always go with what you're passionate about, because you can always create an opportunity later on, and you never know what's around the corner. So that's a little tip. So the next question is, and this is something that I'm asked quite a lot, and it's, how did you get to be a blogger? Even though I'm sure it's phrased a little bit grammatically better than that. I guess being a blogger is something that you can't really predict or want to do necessarily. I guess it's an opportunity rather than a career plan. And I guess I got to be a blogger because I was doing it anyway, and I was in the right place at the right time, and I already had something in place that for me was gaining traction, and I had quite a lot of posts that were really popular, some really strange things as well. Like one of my most popular things on there is a recipe that I did on a take of a Wagamama's recipe. And so I guess it was there for me to take the opportunity if I wanted to. And you know, for so long, I mean, I've been doing this for 6 years, but I would say for a good 3.5 to 4 years, I was just doing it because I loved it, and I was just doing it because I loved writing and I loved photography, and I loved the fact that people were able to read what I was producing. It was never about partnering with a brand, although when a brand did send me a product, it was like the best feeling ever, because it was like, this is the dream, like somebody values my opinion enough to write about it. I was always very much of the opinion that I wanted to be completely honest and uphold my integrity, and you know, be okay to show you what I thought about things, even if they weren't necessarily positive. And I did do a few negative reviews of things, and I've since kind of changed how I do that, which I could explain, but I would go on for ages. But yeah, so it was really eye-opening to see that brands wanted to work with me. But as I said, I was doing it for no money, no brand association, no collaborations for ages, just because I loved it. And I think, you know, hopefully that was something that meant that people enjoyed reading it. And yeah, I guess it was just that I've been doing it a really long time. I was in the right place at the right time. I wouldn't say it's down to luck, because I have worked really, really hard to be where I am, and I still work really, really hard. I work 7 days a week, pretty much, 12-hour days, or I don't really switch off from the point that I wake up to the point that I go to sleep. It is, your life as your job, but I wouldn't change it, and I just feel really, really grateful that I'm in the position that I am, even though it has been a lot of grafting and it has been a lot of hard work. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the next question. So it was, how can I be a blogger? So lots of people ask my advice, and I'm really flattered about that, because I don't consider myself an expert by any means. I mean, I'm still very much a novice in this. I don't know where blogging's going. I still feel like I'm behind the bandwagon. I mean, I've only just jumped on YouTube and I'm really enjoying it so far, but I should have done that, years and years ago. But anyway, I think, how can I be a blogger? Lots of people say to me, oh, I really want to start a blog. I've been thinking about it for ages, but I'm just really nervous. And it's like, don't be nervous, because just go for it. The more that you're thinking about it, the less time, or the more time you could have had producing stuff and getting to grips with the blogging world. And I think there's nothing to be afraid of. When I started it 6 years ago, having a blog and being a blogger was a really cringy thing. Like, I didn't tell anyone about my blog for at least a year, apart from my mum and I think my boyfriend at the time, because I was really embarrassed. I was embarrassed of having myself on show. I didn't want people to think I was narcissistic, or that I loved talking about myself, or that I thought I was this great, amazing person that needed to put my clothes on the internet. So now, you're in the fortunate position that blogging is everywhere, and blogging is a desirable thing to do. No one is going to make fun of you, and trust me, if they do, you'll be having the last laugh, because you'll have a platform of your very own on the internet. And I think that's the thing to remember. It is a platform of your very own, and there is space for everyone. I love the fact that the blogging market is so saturated now, because I'm always discovering new bloggers and new blogs to read, and it's really, really nice that there's such diversity in that. I think that blogging is often portrayed as a really easy career path to follow, or a really easy thing to do, and my only feedback for that would be, try and do it yourself and see how easy it is. And if it was so easy, everyone would be a blogger and everyone would be making lots of money out of it. But yes, that's not where I was going. I was going with the fact that everyone should have their own platform. I think it's amazing that, when you Google your name, your blog will come up and people can see what you're about and learn more about you. I love that about the day and age that we live in. And I think, in terms of the blogging market being so saturated, I think that that's only a bonus, because you can really show you, and your niche is the fact that you're you. And you have to really put that across as much as you can. Don't try and do things because you think it's the blogger stereotypical thing to do and you think that that's the way forward. Carve your own path out and just be you, because that is what's going to make you different. Show your uniqueness and show what you love and show all the things that you're passionate about, because I think that's what really comes through and that's what people invest in. So yes, I think in terms of how you can be a blogger, just go and do it, and don't be afraid of putting out there whatever you want to put out there. That's my only advice, really. So the next question is, how do bloggers earn money? And I would say this is the most popular question I get when I meet people, and they say, oh, what do you do for a living? And I say that I'm a blogger. And they kind of look at me with a bit of a confused face, and they're like, oh, okay, well, how do you do that then? Like, how do you make money out of it? And I guess I could be offended and slightly taken aback by that, because it invariably involves talking about how I earn money and what I earn money, which is usually the next question, is how much do you earn? And people get a bit uncomfortable talking about that. I personally don't get uncomfortable talking about that, because I have nothing to hide. I bear no bones. Bear no bones? Is that even the right phrase? I don't think so. But anyway, I honestly don't mind talking about it, and I think it's really exciting when people are interested in it. The only thing I disagree with is when people look at me with a really kind of cynical face, and I have had a few people in the past when I was doing internships, and I said, you know, to the people working there, and I said, oh, I've got this blog and I'm thinking about doing it full time when I graduate. And one guy turned around to me and he just kind of looked at me with this really cynical, patronizing look, and he was like, don't do that, you'll never monetize it, you'll never make it, you'll never do it, it'll never be a thing. And something like that was really hurtful, because it's like, you know, that is what I'm gonna do. You know, don't crush anyone else's dream. Everyone else has their own individual path, and who are you to say no? So that was the only thing I was slightly offended about. Or when people raise their eyebrows and, you know, say that you're just you're one of those, a fashion blogger, are you? Well, no, I think that, you know, I'm much more than a fashion blogger, and even if I was just a fashion blogger, you know, it's not a discreditable thing. Discreditable? I'm just inventing words left, right and centre now. It's not something that you can really discredit, because everyone has their own thing, and I think it is absolutely amazing if someone can make a living out of the tools presented to them by the digital world. If you can just create a business, you can create a job. You know, we're in a position where we have a lot of unemployment. We don't have a lot of jobs on offer, which is a whole nother topic I appreciate. But I just think it's amazing, you know, that girls and guys can create something for themselves out of nothing. So I think it's an amazing thing, and I love talking about it. So when people ask me, how do you make money? And I say, well, you know, there's various different ways that I make money. I do freelance writing for a number of online publications, kind of keeping my toes in the journalism world, but obviously the majority of my money is made from my blog, and also I obviously run influencer events, so I do make a little bit of money on that side of things as well. But yes, the main ways that I make money personally is through sponsored content, sponsored social content, through event attendance or event appearances or associations, affiliations, a small amount from affiliate links, although I know for a lot of girls that's their main source of income. So I guess with blogging, it's not just one kind of direct way to make money. There's lots of different ways, and I love the diversity in that. I love that, you know, you don't always have your hand in one pie, you've got them in loads, because that really opens opportunities up, it opens loads of doors. And obviously blogging or being self-employed, it's quite unpredictable. You don't have a regular income, you don't have a regular salary. Sometimes you're going to feel really rich, sometimes you're not going to have a penny to your name. So I guess the unpredictability of it is a bit of a put off for some people, but for me, I love it. I love the fact that the effort that I put in is what I get out from it. So how do bloggers earn money? Through lots of different revenue streams, and the majority of bloggers earn money from sponsored content. I guess with YouTubers, a lot of it is through advertising. I personally don't have any experience with that. I mean, I've only just set up YouTube, and I've turned off all the advertising just because I think that it's really annoying to have to click through an ad, and I don't get all that many views, so I just think at the moment it's not worth it, and I'd rather you just enjoy my content without the adverts. So, but I know for a lot of people, obviously YouTube and the content producer, they go 50-50 on the ad revenues, and for some people that can be a massive earner. I think, from what I've read, I think you get $1 per 1,000 views. So depending on how many views you get on your video or how many views you get a month, I guess that kind of dictates what your earnings are. And the final question is, how much do bloggers earn? Now, as I've said, this is obviously something that a lot of bloggers feel uncomfortable talking about, and I completely appreciate that. I don't really feel comfortable disclosing exactly how much I earn, because to be honest, I don't know how much I earn, because I'm now a limited company, and everything goes into the company, and I pay myself a wage, I pay myself a salary, because there's lots of business expenses. And I think one thing to bear in mind is that there is a lot more business expense as a blogger than you would realise, because, and I guess the line between what's an expense and what's a personal purchase, I'm not sure what you call it, the lines are really blurred with regards to that. And I think it's because, you know, my blog is my life, and what I portray on my social media is what I'm living. So it's a tricky one, but I would say that to anyone who wonders how much a blogger earns, I I would be honest and say that it's a lot more than I thought it would be. And you know, I'm earning a lot more than I would in a graduate job. I'm earning enough to live in a beautiful house. Oh, I'm not in central London, you know, it's not £1 million house, although that would be lovely if anyone wants to give me £1 million. But yes, you know, it's a lot more than I thought it would be, and I'm very comfortable in the position that I am. But at the same time, I know that blogging could end at any minute. I don't know where the future of blogging is going to go. So I put pretty much all of my earnings into savings, and yeah, I guess it's just about being sensible with your money and knowing that while this is an amazing career path, who knows where it's going to go. I personally think blogging will stick around because I think it's an amazing outlet for young people, and it's incredible that so many young people want to aspire towards this. I know there's a lot of cynical people that think, oh well, what do? They talk about fashion, they talk about beauty, but really it's about having a connection with other people, and social media is bringing people together as much as it sounds like it could be really isolating. And I know personally, growing up, I would have loved to, I mean, obviously I was in a digital age growing up, but I was just kind of MSN and MySpace and things like that, as I said. I would have loved to have someone on YouTube like Zoella, or like, I'm trying to think of someone, Patricia Bright, who, you know, has advice for you. And I think sometimes that's lovely in a time of need. You just need a helping hand, or, you know, someone to point you in the right direction. And sometimes it's just quite nice to take advice and hear other people's opinions. And I know certainly for me, especially with my IBS and things, I would have found it immensely helpful to be able to follow a blogger or read a blog all about someone that's going through the same thing that I am, because growing up you can feel really alone, and I think YouTube has kind of bridged the gap in between being able to talk to someone. Obviously you want to have someone to confide in, but you also need to be kind of steered in the right direction sometimes, and I really think that's why blogging and YouTube is great. I also think it's a great place for inspiration. I'm always looking to fashion bloggers because I have no clue about style. Honestly, I call myself a fashion blogger, but I don't know much about it. So yeah, I just think it's an amazing place, and to anyone that's cynical about blogging as a career, I think you should just look at it in the perspective that we are creating, and these girls are creating these amazing careers out of nothing. And for me, that's something to really admire. So I'm going to stop now because I think I've been blabbering on for about half an hour, but hopefully you've enjoyed this video, just having a little chat about blogging. If there's any other questions that you have, please do let me know, as I'd be more than happy to answer them. So until then, thank you very much for watching again, and I will see you very soon.